Hello to everyone, and I will start my presentation. SAP Azure, first of all, I've already been introduced. I'm Carlo Alvarez, Solution Specialist on Azure, working in Microsoft. And yeah, personally, I'm come from Venezuela. Now I'm living in Spain. Now we're gonna start with today ERP challenges and why Azure could be the correct options to move your workloads to the cloud. First of all, keeping up the security and intelligence is expensive and time consuming. Right now, we have seen a lot of customers moving to Azure because it has a world-class security, also the integration that it can provide with different solutions in the market, and also solutions that Microsoft can provide on the cloud and also out of Azure 365. Another thing is you need to have certified data centers. Traditional ERP systems lack of speed and agility. Data is stuck in silos, making the real-time insights difficult. Technical debt make it hard to innovate and deliver business results quickly. So we have realized that we have a lot of challenges today to meet the SAP criteria in order to move and in order to evolve. So the part of why Azure can provide you, as I said before, world-class security, cloud automation, scale up and scale down. A lot of customers like first to have the data center certified and also the agility to increase or decrease the size of the machine or the size of the environment to provide agility to their processes. Also, automation deliver better customer experience. This is very good when you are able to have the snoozing times of the machines, gain real-time and predictive insights of the unified SAP solutions, and innovate beyond your SAP landscape. Another part that we would like to share with you is a few years ago, we were hesitant to move the critical mission SAP solutions to the cloud. So right now here you can see some 400 to 500 companies that are already make that jump and they are moving to the cloud. We have in different segments and in different sectors. So this is very important, depending the sectors that you are working in, or depending the sectors that you are your core businesses. We have a reference that can actually support you. Microsoft and SAP expanding the cloud partnership. As you can see, there's been a lot of announcements about a month ago about the Rise on SAP. Before that, we have the Embrace. Right now, the collaboration between SAP and Microsoft is as never been before. We are working, we are collaborating, we are creating different solutions. As you might heard about 2 to 3 weeks ago, the integration with Teams was something that was very, very new. So this is very good to improve our customers' experience in the usage of Azure and Azure Microsoft solutions and SAP. So the first part is drive collaboration with Microsoft Team integration across the SAP solutions, as I mentioned before. So right now, what we're trying to build is collaboration, drive to productivity, employee engagement, and integrate workspace across the organization. Then accelerate transformation with SAP on S/4HANA on Microsoft Azure. This is great because right now we're automated acceleration migration, strength security and resiliency, and modernize customers' experience application in the cloud. So at the end, we are trying to build and expand our partnership with SAP and build a trust relationship also with the customer that are putting their core infrastructure on Azure. Second part is the Embrace initiative, the expand the foundation and investment of the services. This is a very important part, but you need to have what initiative, no? What are the investments that has been made? One thing that's already on the SAP webpage is the market approved journeys. Depending what is your different core solution or core business, we have a market approver to work with SAP, and this is create a very good path to all our customers. Embrace engagement system and services. This is a bring together customers, SAP and Azure system integrator, and a service plan for lift and shift integration of the enterprise, collaboration and productivity, optimized platform, and essential architecture. All these 5 things here are very important and are things working with SAP, and here we have an additional investment and co-innovation with SAP as well. So we are working with SAP in different lines to provide you the best experience and the different investment that will support your migration to Azure. Thirdly, I want to show you that the enterprise migration of the customers, now 80% of the customers are willing, or they will migrate to the public cloud, to the public cloud, and about 70% of them, they will go on a SAP HANA, and 72% of these 73% will go to the cloud. So basically what we're trying to say here is the cloud, it's a reality. Most of us, or most of the companies will migrate to the cloud, yes or yes. 70% of them will go to S4HANA. So this is something that you need to bear in mind. And 72% of them will go to S4HANA on the cloud. So this is a very important number. So my advice, or our advice to you, is be ready to the migration to S4, understand what are the critical paths, what are the different integrations that you have, and how you are able to migrate these to a cloud, and what is the pros and cons that you might have with facing in terms of what solutions you will leave on-prem and what solutions you will have on the cloud. Also, this is a very important slide for me, and a very important slide also for me to stop a little bit, because at the bottom, all this is Azure, but at the bottom is the security and compliance and identity, and that will be the foundation layer. Then the foundation layer will base on security, compliance, and identity that will go around everything that you build on top on our Microsoft platform. And this is great because actually you first have the security and compliance and identity as your building blocks, and then you can put Microsoft Azure in terms of an SAP landscape will be all the networking, all the security that you need, all the connections that you need to have to your on-prem to the cloud. Then you will have your SAP landscape. You also can integrate it with GitHub to have all the repositories in order to deploy faster and deploy automatically. Then you can also have a Power Platform to integrate it to SAP on Azure. So you can actually, right now it's a blog about snoozing time. Also, you can have different applications that can be embedded, can take information from your SAP. You can work with Microsoft 365 to integrate it with your SAP, also with LinkedIn. So at the end, this is the entire ecosystem that also start building on the security and compliance. The good part of this, as I said before, is like if you have your foundation correctly built, this will allow you to have a strong SAP landscape, a strong Azure infrastructure, etc., etc. So this is a very important and key part in order to grow on your Azure and on SAP on Azure solutions. Another part that I would like to do is expand your SAP on values. So we first focus on the migration, then on the transform, then on the integrate, then on the extend. And here it's very important because the migration will be a lift and shift could be a lift and shift on SQL, it can be a journey to HANA, a journey to S4HANA. So we need to understand where we are and how we're going to go to Azure. Then we transform. In terms of transform, we have been working with a lot of customers in these areas because actually we can actually support them and say, okay, let's go for a migration in S4HANA. How are you going to grow through the years? So you start with a data with a DB, very small DB, and they start growing in different DBs, and then you can scale. For example, you can start from 192 gigabytes, then you can go for 1 terabyte. So at the end, the scalability will be happening in different phases of the project. HA and DR, depending what you need, we can use lower RTO, lower RPO, or we can actually use different architectures depending where are your needs or your criticality. Also, we have backups, Azure backups already on HANA. So Azure Backup for HANA, we can monitor all the system and then automate those. For example, I said it before, you can say, okay, this is going to be a dev and test environment, so I will shut down this amount of time. Then we can integrate. We can integrate to solutions, single sign-on, APA, app, DevOps, etc., etc. Intellidocs also can be part of the integration solutions that we can integrate. And then you can extend also, you can extend it to different Azure solutions like Power BI, Data Warehouse, Mobile, IoT Edge, Mixed Reality. So this is basically the transformation that you, or the journey that you will face. And it will depend of the customer. It will depend of your situation. It will depend of where you are right now. So you can actually be moving in different alternatives that you have here. And finally, this will be my last slide. Why run your SAP landscape on Azure? And as I think I said it before, it's proven the cloud platform built for SAP. Why we say this is because currently Microsoft has different certified machines, certified infrastructure. It's working already on the journeys with SAP to provide you the best solutions, the best alternative to you deploy your SAP systems. On match security and compliance, depending on what region you are, we have a different regulations. We have a different certifications for different areas that you are on Europe or in the US or Middle East and Africa, etc. We have different security and compliance certifications, and also we have the power of integrity of Microsoft Cloud on Azure. Finally, also in terms of security, right now we are building a new connector from the Sentinel that can actually drag information from your SAP systems to Sentinel. That will be already in private preview, but it's going to come. Cannot say the correct dates, but it's going to come, I believe, this year. So it's a connector from your SAP machines to Sentinel. Immediate insights and innovations. So you can actually innovate on top of your SAP systems. As I said before, you can build on using Azure solutions or market solutions on top of your SAP landscape. And our partnership with SAP that it's growing, and we are building new co-innovation together in order to provide you better solution, better path or better ways to work with SAP. And this is the end of my presentation. Giovanni, I think it's now your turn. If, as Maria said before, if you have any question, please put it in the chat window, and I will start answering questions.
Okay. Thanks for joining this webinar, and I will introduce Intellidogs. My name is Joan Evangelisti. I'm the co-founder of Intellidogs EMEA, and I'm based in Paris. Okay, Intellidocs, a quick one. It was founded in 2012. It's basically an American company. It's with headquarters in Miami, and today we are located in different regions, including France. Actually, I'm calling you from, I'm participating from France. And we do have offices in France, Italy, Belgium, Canada, and Singapore, and we just opened up an offices in Canada. Okay, my let's say goal is introduce the solutions. Actually, what we do is basically we are integrating the two world, SAP and the Microsoft world. We have seen that Microsoft they have a very strong relationship with SAP, and of course they are promoting the Azure cloud as, let's say, the cloud for hosting the SAP solution. And what we do, we are integrating in the two worlds in a way where SAP, as you know, it's a business process. It's more systems of record. Doesn't come with a real enterprise content management. And what we do, we are integrating the two worlds in terms of extending the Microsoft Office 365, adding, let's say, the functionalities of Office 365 related to the IntelliDocs content. What we are providing is this, let's say, integration that allows you to extend and manage the content that is produced inside SAP, because as you know, SAP they have, let's say, of course, they have transaction modules, but related to the SAP transaction, there are a lot of documents that are coming with the structured data. And what SAP is proposing, of course, it's not to store the content inside the SAP table, because it's really space consuming and is really, let's say, not the right place to store. They have as well, let's say, extended the possibilities of storing the content outside SAP. And customer, they can use either what is proposed by SAP, that is called the Content Server, or they can extend the document management functionalities using, let's say, external document management supplier. What we do here is with IntelliDocs, we are proposing Office 365 as a content repository for the all content that is connected to the SAP transaction. As well, we can manage the data archiving of SAP. As you know, basically, SAP on Azure includes can include as well the ECM, let's say, what we are proposing is the integration with Office 365. Before, let's say, was very complicated using the legacy systems for extending the content services for SAP. Today, what we are proposing a native Azure solution that allows you to integrate, to build this integration in minutes. We are we are really, let's say, integrated and leverage the full Office 365 infrastructure. The collaboration, of course, when the content is linked to the SAP business transaction, and you move the content in Office 365 in terms of user experience, usability. You can use as an interface SharePoint Online, Office 365, or Teams users can work and can add, can share the document that are produced and connected with SAP. You can, of course, apply processes automation, let's say, because when we are moving the content inside Office 365, we can enrich the content with the SAP metadata. And you can have as well a bidirectional integration. Basically, all the content is enriched by the SAP metadata, and with the content that are stored inside Office 365, stored inside the repository, you can apply all, let's say, the Microsoft interface, the Microsoft capabilities for doing applying the Power BI, the Power Automate. You can apply the Power Apps, and as well, let's say, the Microsoft artificial intelligence engine for analyzing and discovering the content that are stored inside the Office 365. Of course, let's say the architecture is very simplified, because you don't need to have basically the Intellidocs is making an integration between the two worlds without keeping the data, without having obliged to install the VM for running the systems. Everything is really simplified by the cloud architecture, and you will have the Azure Resource Manager for managing, let's say, the integration between the two worlds. We do support any version of SAP. Basically, we are supporting SAP ECC, SAP for SAP on-premise as well, SAP on Azure, SAP on your cloud. And in terms of storage, you can have two possibilities, or you can store the data inside the content inside Office 365, or you can use as well the blob storage for having, let's say, data inside the blob storage as well. What is the driving factor for this, let's say, the needs for having this architecture? Of course, we have seen that during these days, the increase of the volume of the data. SAP is really data consuming, and what we have seen inside, let's say, a normal SAP infrastructure, SAP, let's say, environments, 40% of, let's say, the database size is content. That's why it's interesting to have a content management strategy, a data volume strategies, and with, let's say, how the HANA database is designed, and how a SAP for HANA is designed is better, let's say, to reduce the content inside the database, especially for not having content that is really related to the transactional operational, and it's better to offload the SAP for HANA database from the content for reducing, of course, the cost of the infrastructure, and reducing as well the cost of the database, of the systems. What we suggest is, and what our solution fits inside, let's say, the overall Microsoft SAP strategies, is to integrate the two worlds. And as SharePoint Office 365 is very, let's say, the content is the content server with the cloud infrastructures. It's now very scalable and offer all the functionalities that the system, this kind of systems requires, from the document management infrastructure functionalities, from the record management functionalities as well, for the capability of storing a large volume of data, and that's why we have decided to integrate the two. Of course, you can manage the security and the integrity of the shared content. Of course, SAP users can access the content, as well users from Office 365 that are outside, let's say, and not having the SAP interface. You can as well accommodate external users. If you can build a portal with external users for suppliers, you can as well, you'd say, enrich the SAP content from external users as well. This architecture allows you to do a rapid deploy of business processes, smart applications, and we do have as well tools for migrating existing legacy systems, because the problem is not new. Some of the SAP customers, they've already implemented this architecture using document content providers that are in the market. And of course, having all the content inside Office 365, you can apply the user's experience for search, for accessing the content through the search, to the organization, to the mobile. Basically, you can build an intelligent enterprise using this evolutive infrastructure. This is the architecture. Basically, we have the SAP. We are using the Archive Link protocol. The product is Archive Link certified. You will have, let's say, the IntelliDocs AL ACS that is installed. Basically, is an Azure services where basically, as I told you, it's very easy to activate. It's very easy to use. You have two modules here. One is the doc routing. It's a services that allows you to, based on the SAP metadata, you can store the content inside, let's say, the folder in Office 365 based on the business requirement. And the doc link is the modules that allows you to connect to the SAP transaction document that are not SAP, basically documents that are relevant for the business processes with the SAP transactions, but for example, incoming invoicing or some contract provided by the external company, and you want to link to the SAP transaction. As again, this architecture, you can have as well the Microsoft user experience, Microsoft tools to build applications that are easily used by the Microsoft users, and you can interconnect the business processes with SAP. Of course, SAP still remain, let's say, the source of truth. It's the master data, but around the architecture, you can improve the business processes. You can share the content that are stored inside SAP. Again, we do have as well the possibility for storing the data inside the blob storage. Depends on the business requirement. As well, because the blob storage, they have a lot of, let's say, certification in terms of, let's say, document archiving for retention, for they can provide as well the warm capabilities that allows you, let's say, to store, to provide a lot of, let's say, legal compliances for this kind of architecture. Okay. And an interesting point as well that the Azure, you can apply to this architecture, let's say, all the capabilities in terms of the Azure infrastructure, in terms of the security, backup, failover, autoscale. Let's say you don't need to be, let's say, like expert for the system that is connected to SAP. Everything is provided by basically the Azure, in terms of scalability, in terms of the power that you require, in terms of the storage, and the Office 365 provides you all the functionalities for the document management capabilities of the full architecture. In terms of the business applications that we have with our customers, we have, let's say, built, and we have, let's say, and the customer, they have built by themselves. In terms of the financial accounting, of course, there is the Office, the invoice automation payment, invoicing approval, billing documents that are related to the specific, let's say, requirement, the human resources, travel expenses processes, like employees onboarding, let's say personal folder for the employees, or let's say automating the order processing, or let's say in the plant maintenance, the work order processing, preventive plant maintenance. Basically, these are applications that with this architecture can be created, can be built really easily compared to what could have been done using, let's say, SAP by SAP itself, and using, let's say, the old document management system infrastructure that was provided so far. In terms of, we support, of course, let's say the Microsoft journey for migrating SAP to the cloud. We do have as well an on-premises version for customers that are still on premises, but let's say we can help to move the content directly to Office 365, having SAP on premises. Of course, when you are moving to the cloud, especially to HANA and to S/4HANA, it's better to travel light. Then it's better to offload the content. Then you can move the content to Office 365, SharePoint Cloud to the blob storage, and move afterwards the SAP, change the database and move to SAP for HANA directly, basically. We do have as well for customers that today they're running a legacy system. We do have tools for migrating the content and to the cloud. I have one more slide. It's not. These are the customers that they are using our, let's say, our solutions. And after one of our customers, Siemens Gamesa, will show how they have implemented this solution. I think that's all. Of course, if you have any questions, you can. I'm ready to answer.
Okay, I'm Javier Aguado, Cloud Sales Director at Cloudor. Good morning to everybody. Thank you for joining us during this webinar. I hope all of you are well and healthy. I'm going to make a brief introduction about our company, who we are and what we do, and then we are able to follow how we are able to help you in your SAP to cloud journey, and how we are able to do a content management, SAP Content Management as service. Okay, so we are 100% cloud computing company, and we help our customers during the whole cloud journey. Okay, from the very beginning, from the discovery phases to the cloud projects, to the transformation, then optimization and innovation. And we are specialized in migrating, implementing, and integrating SAP on Azure. We are founded on the US in Fort Lauderdale more than 9 years ago, and we have offices all over Americas, Europe, and also Middle East. What do we do? So we help the companies through the whole cloud journey. What does it mean? First of all, we help with the discovery, with the cloud consulting, helping them to define the cloud strategy, how to move to the cloud, how to assess the systems, how to define the cloud roadmap, and how to implement the cloud governance framework before starting or migrating to the cloud. Then the second step is cloud transformation, the migration projects or the modernization of the data center in the cloud. Here, we are really focused on helping the companies in their SAP to the cloud, in the SAP journey, helping them to migrate the systems to the cloud, integrate SAP systems with a cloud technology such as IntelliDocs or cloud analytic solutions, and also very important, helping them in the S/4HANA journey. After that, we do managed services, so we are able to optimize the systems, to take care of the systems in the cloud, and to control the cost and the security of the systems, two key aspects in the cloud. And at last, innovation. The cloud journey doesn't stop once you are in the cloud and once you are managing the systems in the cloud. In the cloud, we are able to do cloud analytics, starting DataOps practices, and also integrate with more advanced solutions. This is what we are doing, for example, with SAP, with IntelliDocs, helping you to modernize your SAP Content Management solution and use a full 100% native cloud solution where you are able to store within Office 365 or Azure Blob Storage solutions all your SAP data. We have big references all over Europe, Americas, and also Middle East, such as Philips, Santander Bank, Zurich Insurance, or several public entities within the United Arab Emirates. How we are able to help you with your SAP Content Management? First of all, with SAP, we help you during the whole SAP transformation journey with Azure technology, and also help you to streamline your S/4HANA journey. In the discovery part, we are able to help you to decide which is the best migration strategy. So we are able to accelerate and to reduce the cost of the future projects. With a good assessment and with a good cloud governance, we will have all the base and all the guidelines for doing the project. In the transformation phase, we deploy and we migrate your on-prem systems into the cloud, and also help you with different strategies, greenfield, brownfield, hybrid approaches to transform to S4, as all of you may be thinking right now. In the optimization part, with our management tools and automation procedures, we take care of your full SAP landscapes, and also provide you with our custom monitoring tools based on Power BI. And as I told you before, the journey doesn't stop here. Then we go to the innovation phase, and this is where we can help you with content management as service with Intellidogs, and also introducing new tools and new technologies such as analytics, new services like IoT, blockchain, etc. How we present our SAP Content Management as service for you? First of all, we are able to provide you an integrated one project, and as a service, everything. So MyCloudor is able to provide you the Azure services, the Azure infrastructure that you require for deploying this solution. Also, the IntelliDocs licenses included as service, and the services, the professional service for installation and support of the product. With that, you will get three main benefits. First of all, only one integrated experience for the support. You don't need to contact IntelliDocs, Microsoft, MyCloudor, your SAP provider. You will have only one point of contact for any problem that you have with your SAP Content Management platform. Second, we'll take care of everything, the deployment, the configuration, and the operations. You will consume this as a service without having any problem, and you can focus on which is more important, your business. At last, we provide you an integrated SLA for the whole platform, the infrastructure, the services, and the product. So with that, you will have guaranteed service continuity, and you won't have any kind of problem with your platform. How we do that? First of all, we start with the infrastructure layer. We do everything as infrastructure as code. With that, using native tools like Azure ARM templates, third-party tools such as Terraform, or our own tools like MyCloudor Management and Automation Suite, we deploy the whole infrastructure landscape as code. With that, we are able to get three benefits. First of all, have a version infrastructure code, so we are able to do any incremental or any change in a very and a well-governed tool. Second, everything is deployed consistently. You won't have any kind of problem because we are deploying it as a code. And third, we are able to test any change that you may require in terms of capacity, new environments, or whatever. We are able to test it very fast without delaying the project. Second, we provide you our managed cloud services on top of that for the infrastructure and for the product. With that, we have our own managed cloud service methodology based on ITIL. So we take care of the whole service catalog, any kind of request that you may have, the security management, and the incident management. So for you, we'll take care of everything, and you don't need to worry about the product only. You know that we are going to achieve the agreed SLA and also a great performance for you. And for that, we provide you a single point of contact. So we are able to provide you the level 1 support, so the service desk tool. Also, we provide the level 2, and in case we need to escalate to the providers such as IntelliDocs or Microsoft Azure, we'll take care of that. So for you, you will only need to interact with your service manager, your single point of contact, and we'll take care of everything. At last, as I told you before, we provide you with different tools, even for the service desk tool, if you don't have. Then we use our monitoring tools that you will have also access, so you can see the performance and the incidents on real time on your systems using our monitoring tool built on top of Zabbix, and also use Azure monitoring tools such as Azure Monitor, Log Analytics, and Application Insights. So we'll have this preventing and proactive monitoring on top of the systems, and the same access that we are having, you will have it too. So you'll have the same information real time about the performance and the problems on your systems. And the base of all of that would be our automation tools and our infrastructure as code tools, using our own set of tools deployed by MyCloudOr, and also the best tools in the market, such as Azure DevOps and Terraform. So at the end, why MyCloudOr? We have a very good human and professional team. Most of them have more than 8 years experience with cloud and more than 20 years experience in IT consulting and SAP consulting. As you've seen, we have create our own cloud methodology to help you in a successful transition to the cloud in your cloud journey. And at last, we have invested a lot in our IP solutions and tools. And also we are partnering with the best solution providers like Intellidogs for helping you in this journey. Thank you very much to everybody. If you have any questions, you can ask me through the Q&A chat. And I give Morton Fries the floor. He's a project manager in Siemens Gamesa, and he has great experience implementing Intellidogs within his company.
As mentioned, my name is Morton Fries, and I'm an external project manager. I've been working with Siemens Gamesa for a little more than a year, and part of the project that I've been doing is implementing Intellidogs. So just very briefly about Siemens Gamesa, for those of you who might not know it. You can see the hard facts on the right side of the presentation, but the company is basically a manufacturer of wind turbines to a global market. It manages and operates a huge variety of wind farms worldwide. Siemens Gamesa is a joint company from Siemens Wind Power and a Spanish company called Gamesa that merged in 2017 and is now partly owned by Siemens Energy with 67% of the shares. Siemens Gamesa has offices across the world, and the core business is production and installation of onshore and offshore wind turbines, and of course service of these different wind turbines. And as part of, let's say, a growing market, the expectations for the future is that there will be a market growth of about 8% per year over the next 5 years. So from today, about 650 gigawatts produced worldwide to 1,160 gigawatts to be produced in 2026. So there's a huge potential here. So what we have been doing at Siemens Gamesa, currently we have 4 projects running. The overall aim was initially to, as it was mentioned earlier in the presentation, to move storage of documents away from the SAP environment platform. And that's, of course, part of the overall strategy. Siemens Gamesa is also moving towards SAP for HANA, removing the existing SAP systems and migrating it to SAP for HANA. And that's an ongoing project since, I think it was the beginning of 2019, middle 2019 or something like that. And the Intellidogs SharePoint solution was kind of the solution chosen to prove this concept of document repository. So what we currently have is we have the SAP for HANA project where we have installed IntelliDocs in the SGRE Asia with IntelliDocs as a connector to SharePoint folder where we have documents stored. We have another project called UCM, and that's a legacy Gamesa file storage system that we are replacing. It was used with the legacy SAP solution in Gamesa to store documents. Then there is a solution or an application called Docman that actually has all the SAP documentation that we also want to store in SharePoint using IntelliDocs. And finally, we have a new company brought into Siemens Gamesa called Senvien. And there is the aim here is in the beginning to store all incoming invoices from their SAP system into SharePoint. So a little bit about the details in these projects. The SAP for HANA integration, which was actually the first one, was kind of a proof of concept. The phase one, as mentioned on the slide, is that Siemens Gamesa users were able to go to have access to the documents in SharePoint through the SAP solution, and that is what we currently have implemented. So users log into the Siemens Gamesa environment, and through SAP they have access to all documents attached in SAP stored in SharePoint. The second phase that I think we're working on at the moment is that we also would like to give access the other way around, so users can actually access documents in SharePoint and then will be updated there. For instance, for the service that is going on at the different wind turbine plants, we would like the service technicians to access, let's say, the service documents directly in SAP or in SharePoint, download them to a portable device, and then do their maintenance on the plant, and then load the documents back up, updated, of course, with all the information they get from the wind turbine. But that phase has not been initiated yet, so currently we only have the access to the documents through SAP. For UCM, which I mentioned was a legacy Gamesa application used for SAP storage from the Gamesa company. As part of the migration process, where we actually trying to we are moving all the applications from the two legacy data centers into one new data center. We also need to replace this UCM application and BPEL, which is another part of it, with the SharePoint solution. And also here we have chosen Intellidogs to be the let's say the solution for sharing these documents and installing. So we are using the existing setup, as you can see on the slide. It's exactly the same setup basically as with the SAP for HANA. So it's the same instance in our SGRE Azure cloud, and then using that instance to store documents in a dedicated SharePoint folder in SharePoint. And we are basically ready to go. I mean, Intellidocs has provided everything needed. We need just to make a few small steps in order to provide all the existing old documents from the UCM and BPL applications in order to go live with this project as well. So we're very close to be able to finalize this one. The third one I want to mention is the new company called Senvien. The first phase is to have all new invoices coming into the SAP Senvien solution filed in SharePoint. And this is also in the works now. The second phase of this project will be to have all historical documents or invoices actually moved from the current location at the Senvien side to a SharePoint folder as well. And that is also in the works at the moment. So on all these projects, we're having great progress, and basically the Intellidocs part is a very, as I see it and my experience from these projects, is that it's a very easy way to get things installed, and a very fast way to actually move the document storage away from SAP to a SharePoint site. So it's really a smooth transition, as we have seen it in these projects. So what is the next consideration? As I mentioned, I mean, these 4 projects that we have ongoing now was kind of the front runners to kind of validate if this solution with IntelliDocs and storing things on SharePoint was a feasible solution going forward, and that's definitely how it looks now. So the next steps for Siemens Gamesa is to validate, let's say, the number of instances of IntelliDocs installed. As it is currently, all the systems are running on, or all integrations are running on the same instance of IntelliDocs, which of course makes it a little bit of a bottleneck, and then we need to consider if that's the way of going forward, or we need maybe additional instances installed. The same way goes for SharePoint. Currently, we have one dedicated SharePoint site with subfolders for each individual project. But also here we need to define if it's actually required to have more SharePoint sites, perhaps one per project, etc. And then, of course, if this is going to be a strategic solution that will be used going forward in Siemens Gamesa, we also need to evaluate the project model. We have gained quite a lot of experience. As I mentioned, it's very easy actually to implement IntelliDocs as the middleware tool for this, but still we need to have a formal project model for this implementation. And then finally, we need to consider the support model, of course. How are we going forward, and how can we fit the support of the IntelliDocs solution into our current support structure? Until now, IntelliDocs has been very kind and helped us with all the support that we needed, but we have to, of course, consider that in the future, how that is going to be done. So overall, I think I can say that this IntelliDocs SharePoint solution has turned out to be very valuable for the 4 projects that we have been running, and we have gained really good experience with this solution. And it's not my decision to decide if it's a strategic project that lies within the system architecture in Siemens Gamesa, but the experience so far has been very good with this solution. I think that basically concludes what I had. So if you have any questions, please let me know.